Pyre is the new game from Supergiant Games. They're known for creating Bastion and Transistor. I'm Kyle Hilliard, and Matt Miller is here.
Hello.
You reviewed Pyre, and you're going to tell me all about it.
There's a lot of great things about this game. First up, it's the fact that it's basically a sports game masquerading as a fantasy RPG.
It kind of looks like NBA Jam.
It totally looks like NBA Jam, and that's pretty purposeful, I think. They've got this rich, original sport that they've created as part of the game. It's the rights within the fiction of the game, but really it's a sports game about grabbing the orb at the center court line and trying to slam it or throw it into the opposing team's Pyre. And it's a really fun game. It takes a long time to master, and there's a lot of different skills and abilities that each of your characters brings to the table. But ultimately, it just makes for this really exciting, fun loop of gameplay that forms the sort of bedrock of the action in the game.
And then experience points are in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly, because it's an RPG as well. Number 2. Choices really matter in this game, and I love that about Pyre.
So you have there's dialogue, and then you literally pick, an answer, or is there more to it than that?
It's not just the choices and dialogue, although that is part of it. It's also that your wins and losses in the sport, they count, and the game moves forward past that. So if you lose a match, you can lose even really important matches, and the game continues forward, and the story accounts for that loss.
Can you lose literally every game?
Presumably, yes. You could lose every game, and your story would end in a particular way at that point, which adds tremendous replay value.
Probably the good ending is what you get.
That's probably the good ending.
Okay.
The third thing about this game is that the world building is spectacular. The team at Supergiant has a reputation for creating really original, exciting, rich worlds, and that's what we've got once again with Pyre. It's a game filled with talking dogs and sentient trees and all sorts of fantasy tropes, but twisted on their head to have a new relevance and an interesting place within this fiction, which is all set up around this sort of corrupt theocracy that flings its unwanted citizens and criminals into this entire other land called the Downside. And you are one of these exiles in the Downside trying to fight your way back to freedom by playing through the rights. And along the way, you're introduced to dozens of really interesting characters, both allies and enemies, who all have distinct personalities, relationships, histories, and those relationships and histories can play out completely differently depending on the choices that you make and whether you win or lose against them in the battles that you get into. The fourth thing I really like about Pyre is that on top of a great campaign, a lengthy campaign that you can play through that's story-driven and focus on leveling up in a kind of classic fantasy RPG style, you also have a little bonus feature here. You can compete with a friend in local competitive play. Now, this isn't a completely blown out multiplayer mode. It doesn't have options for more than 2 players. You cannot play it online. But for 2 people who really enjoyed the game and played through the campaign and know the way that the different character classes work, it's a lot of fun to be able to choose your characters and choose which board you're going to play on, choose the background art. There's all sorts of options for what you put into your versus match. You can also play versus AI, or if you just want to see a ridiculous match play out, you can put 2 AIs against each other, put it on the highest difficulty AI, and see craziness ensue on screen.
And this mode, just be clear, it doesn't add anything to the single player. It's just purely a bonus extra on top of an already pretty sweet game.
It's a bonus extra that lets you just engage with the sport all by itself. You can just play more matches like you would have seen in the campaign, except you're getting to select your characters from both the allies and the enemies that you would have fought in the campaign. Or you can go up against a friend who has also built up their skills and understands the abilities of the different character classes and see who wins.
So that's Pyre from Supergiant Games. Miller, you reviewed it. What did you give this game?
I gave it an 8.75. Really great game. I think Supergiant continues to varnish their reputation for excellence.
Yeah, and you can find that review on GameInformer.com. Thank you so much for watching.